Okay guys, we don't get to go landed properties that often, but today we're actually at Jalan Telawi over here, which is actually not too far from Bangsar Shopping Centre. You could literally walk there within the 5-minute span lah. But let's go check out this landed property over here because I was told this old property is actually up for sale. Let's go check it out. Okay, because this is a rather old development over here, right? They started off with very little car parks lah. So you can see over here, at most, okay, for the car fanatics out there, right? You can only have one car here and one car inside there. And the rest you got to park at the roadside lah. Later, I will also show you how is the surrounding like in this vicinity right now also, because this is actually in the atas premium market. So you don't get to see a lot of double car park or whatnot in this side of town. But that side in the Bangsar Shopping Centre area, I cannot say so lah, because the shop lots over there, insane. To get parking is like never ending one. Okay, so somebody that would be interested in this particular development over here, right, would be somebody of an architecture, somebody that actually appreciate the older things in life lah. So people like me, I appreciate this type of things, but it also comes with a price because the location over here is already very mature, very expensive. And you can see over here, right, there's ample amount of space over here. Now, because this is actually what we call an individual title, which also means that you can actually extend, you can do whatever design language you want. It's unlike the strata ones where you have to follow a certain formatting or design language from the facade itself lah. So over here, if you have the abundance of cash, right, and you want to be in Bangsar lah, then this might be for you. This is like a masterpiece or a project that you can actually work on. Okay, as you can see, right now I'm at the backyard over here, and you can see obviously the grass is not kept properly or landscaping is not properly done because the owner is no longer residing in Malaysia. But one thing nice about this particular place is actually rather serene. Even though we are actually in the KL city centre of Bangsar, you know, this is actually a very developed I nearly said the word zap. It's not zap, it's very developed area. And this is a place whereby a lot of people actually come as a midpoint for commercial activities, mainly for food lah. And you can see over here, right, I want to talk about the entire development over here because as I mentioned, this one you can extend all the way back as well. I also like the fact that this particular owner previously has already put up fencing over here that is the concrete one lah. So essentially it kind of prevents the adjacent neighbor from behind to not see you inside, like giving you a little bit more privacy over here. So right now they have an awning over here to kind of do this outdoor kitchen, right? But as I mentioned, if you have the abundance of cash, you make this even nicer. You got so much space over here. This is easily 15 feet, you know, 15 feet from the actual concrete part of the building all the way over here lah. So you can go crazy, design anything you want lah. If it's for me, I really can envision how this would look like. Having like a centerpiece over here, glass top, and then letting natural sunlight come inside. Whew, cantik. So one thing about older developments also is that the sewage system over here is not to say the prettiest of sight lah. Now you can see over here, this is how the longkang actually looks like, right? That brings you all the way down to the government or the public one lah. So to me personally, if I were to design this, right, I would prefer to cover this up over here and make it a little bit more palatable to the eyes lah. But what I like about these older developments, as you can see, I love this tiles, you know. This design, if the next owner that buys this property over here, right, please keep this darlings, because this is the type of nostalgic taste that you won't get to see in newer condos nowadays lah. I don't even think you can replace these tiles anymore because they don't produce them anymore lah. Okay, wow, this is a very sizable living hall over here, and you can see the furnitures and the fittings that they use is also representative of their very Ama punya house lah. You look at it, it kind of resonates with you, you know. This is the rattan kind of design furniture, which honestly hard to see nowadays because this one really is the olden days design language lah. And you can see over here, right, because the owner has already moved out to another place and some of the children has also reside in other countries, right. She even put it up here. 4-wall panel for TP to BKK, which is Bangkok lah, guys. So some of the furnitures that would be in the unit that we see right now is going to be removed and actually sent to their respective areas in the future lah. So coming to this common area over here, which is the place where people do dining lah. It's a sizable one, enough for you to fit about 8 people for at one go, and you can see they even put the refrigerator out here lah. But more importantly, I want to show you the kitchen over here. As I mentioned, for a landed property, this one is sizable, but not the most sizable one lah. So you always have to have a dry kitchen and wet kitchen, assuming you have the abundance of space lah. Because over here, you can actually cook your tai chow outside there, And inside over here, you do the lighter cooking, maybe boil some soup or whatnot. You can do it over here and do the massive cooking without smoke outside. So if your household have older folks, you can even consider making this space a little bit bigger and also make the toilet a little bit sizable enough for a wheelchair to come in. Because people like my grandmother, right, sitting on wheelchair, susah sikit lah. So make the door a little bit wider and then they can actually use this area over here. And I can tell from this alone, right, they already had old folks staying over here last time. Easier to actually lift yourself up after a potty break, I guess. And when you look over here on the ground floor unit, right, it actually has a room already. So this room over here is actually very good for the elderly because you don't want to climb stairs, you don't want to get them to suffer, right? So over here, they can just walk to the toilet very conveniently. Okay, now you see the stairways over here, they use this old wood, Now these are the woods that are very sturdy one. And I wish whoever that actually bets this property in the future, right, remain this type of old structures over here. Because it kind of gives you that culture, the element of oldness into a new design language. But if it were for me to decide, right, I would open a well over here or a void over here so that natural sunlight can come inside and actually light up the house. I don't know, I've seen a lot of this in other architectural properties. So I hope that this can be done also. Okay, so now we are at bedroom number 1 over here, and you can see it's actually a rather old design. What I like is that the ceiling uses this type of design language. I know there's a name for it, but I really honestly don't know on top of my head. No architecture, no interior designer over here. But this type of design looks really nicely. It gives you that very old vintage kind of look. And you can see also cabinets over here are this wooden design over here. Which I believe is actually still workable, still functioning. But of course, for the modern people, they may want to change this. This one, to me, I would change. So this is room number 2, the smaller room of the entire layout over here, which is also leading you to actually the AC latch over here. So this one open up, it's actually the AC latch already. A little bit of a small balcony also if you want to use it that way. But this one actually faces the back alley over here, or the part where the kitchen was at just now. Also, because this is elevated land, you can see that we are actually on higher grounds as compared to the adjacent property over there. Okay, so this is the last room over here, and that last room over here is also facing towards the kitchen area. So this room itself is actually fairly large, but I think overall, in the grand scheme of things, right, if you buy this property over here and you have the abundance of cash to do it, you would potentially want to just knock the whole thing off and just kind of refurbish it. Most people would do that. I wouldn't suggest it because I feel there's a lot of elements over here whereby you should keep and maintain, because this is just nostalgic. The things and elements that they used in the past, right, you won't get to mimic or replicate them in the future one. These older properties, right, you see this type of floorings over here, these are the wood finishing that honestly is very hard to maintain over time. But considering the fact that this property is about 30 plus years old, right, and looking at the condition right now, it's actually still okay. So if it were for me to decide, I would just keep this design as well. But that's the difference between the toilet over here. Toilet tend to over time degrade a fair bit because of moisture. As you can see, the owner over here went with this type of floor finishing, right, that is a bit more kasar one. So it's a bit more slip proof when you take a shower already. So to me personally, I like this design language because it's also better and more convenient for the elderly as well. Okay, as you can see, the area is very established, and one thing I noticed is that you don't see much double car parks over here. But this is also not too far away from Bangsar Shopping Centre, which is like 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks away actually. So if you walk down there, maybe less than 5 minutes, you can actually reach that side of town already to actually go and get all the commercial activities. The shop lots, the McDonald's are all on that side of town. We'll go there in a real short bit just to show you what's around in that vicinity as well. So let's go. Just came out from the Tawan, and just 2, 3 blocks away, we are already at the commercial podium of Bangsar. Now this is where all the atas punya shop lot is going to be at . And as I mentioned, right, the job opportunities in this area is very high. Just bear in mind and remember, right, Mid Valley is maybe 10 minutes from here, and you can even see Menara Maybank, which is that weird curvy looking building over there, on the right hand side. So for the people that reside over here, mainly is also because their job opportunities or the work is also in this area lah. Or maybe because these people are just atas and they just want to eat good food every single day or pubs every day lah. So yeah, this is Bangsar's main commercial area over here lah, very close by. And guys, as I mentioned, the commercial area is also connected to a Bangsar village or Bangsar Shopping Centre in that sense lah. So we are now at the Jalan Telawi 3, okay, which is basically where the commercial and the shopping centre is located at lah. As you can see right now, right, this particular area to get car park is insane. That's the reason why I park like that lah. Okay, but don't learn from me, don't summon me. Okay, but this area itself, as I mentioned many times, if you stay in this area, you literally don't have to go anywhere. Walking distance, you can come to all these places already. So you can get fresh produce, you want to makan and whatnot, this location absolutely have it all. So that's the reason why people would actually still want to buy this particular area or these properties over here, even though the prices are now maybe about 800 plus per square feet already, you know. So it's actually insane. And for you to actually rectify and do up the property, right, for that size of property over there, looking at about 4,000 square feet, right, you're going to think about easily 1 million ringgit just to kind of refurbish the place to a livable condition. So if this particular property is for you, right, then you can actually check it out. So anyways, it's actually up for sale, so you can check it out anytime. But I think that's pretty much it for this particular long form video of Bangsar Telawi area. So we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.